For Clint Boyer, Brett Griffin joins us. Hey, Brett, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Y'all doing all right?
Hey, we are doing terrific. And tell me about that last 450 yards or so of that race. And tell me what you were talking to Clint about. Does it happen so fast that you can't give him any idea of what to do and he's on his own, or can you see it happen?
It kind of started for us in that last restart. We kind of cut a deal with Harvick there and his spotter, Billy O, under that last yellow that we were going to line up, pick the bottom, and have Kevin pushing us in kind of the tandem-style racing. And we got a really good restart. For whatever reason, we came off a 2 and got disconnected, and probably were in the best spot to win the race at that point. But when we got disconnected, Matt got a little bit of a run on the outside of us, and in the middle of the backstretch, he just decided to hang a left. And when he did, he hit us in the right front, shot us below the yellow line, which is supposed to be out of bounds. And then obviously we had to make our way back onto the racetrack. And at that point, it gets everything jumbled up in the front, which gives all of those guys momentum via the draft out the back. So here they come, and look like Michael and Casey Mears were running 20 miles an hour faster than everybody else. And long story short, when Tony made the block to the left, when he hung a left, and he went across Michael's right front, there's nothing you can say as a spotter at that point to help with anything if you're in the position we were in. If you were a little further back or even on the bottom line, a couple of 3 rows back, you probably could have given them some insight to help them miss the wreck. But, man, where we were at, we were just a sit and duck, and then, Clint's pretty much along for the ride at that point.
As that race unfolded, was there any point where, halfway through that thing, a third of the way, that you thought there was going to be a big one that there wasn't? We talked to Reed Spencer in the first hour of the show, and he said that from his vantage point where he was watching the race from, it looked like there should have been about 4 wrecks that just didn't quite happen.
Well, I think the Matt Kenseth one early on when Biffle, got the way these cars are set up right now, you can't get on the left rear of the bumper or you will turn them. And he made his move to the bottom before Matt did, and when he did, it got Matt extremely loose. So I think Matt made a great save there that could have been a huge wreck. In the Carl Edwards wreck, circumstance for whatever reason made that be a 2-car wreck, whereas it could have been an 18 or 20-car wreck. I really started keeping my eyes on the 1 and the 21. Those guys were very fast. They were changing lanes a lot. And the more you change lanes, the more you put yourself in a position to either be in a wreck or create a wreck. So those were the guys that I was watching that I felt like were going to be the ones that ended up, either getting wrecked or causing the big wreck. And, Jamie obviously got spun there through the trial to bring out that last yellow of the day. But I agree with Reed. There were definitely a couple of opportunities and a couple of chances that we had to have the big one. But for whatever reason, we had to wait until it was in the pay window to make it happen.
We're talking with Brett Griffin. And, Brett, you started the season being a spotter for Jeff Burton. You moved over to Clint's car at the time of the chase. How long did it take for you and Clint to get on the same page, or was it just a matter of the two of you like you'd never gotten apart?
I'd say I think our biggest advantage Clint and I have is we're friends off the racetrack. So I kind of know his personality, know him as a person, a good friend of mine. We'll go out and have beer and pizza or whatever around the racetrack even before we were working together. So that definitely gave us an advantage off the bat. The other thing is when I was actually spotting for Jeff Burton the last couple of years and this tandem racing came about, when we were using one spotter to do 2 cars, I was doing Clint and Jeff at the same time. And when Clint won the fall race last year, I was spotting for he and Jeff at the same time. So we actually had won a race together before I got over here. And then when I did get over here, we rattled off, 3 or 4 top 10s in a row, and we're obviously on our way to another great finish Sunday before that last wreck. So I'm having a blast. It was really cool to be able to kind of step into the chase, if you will. It's like I made a trade deadline that put me into the playoffs in Major League Baseball, man. It was pretty exciting to be in that opportunity. And this is actually my 4th time working with Michael Waltrip Racing. I worked with Michael back in the beginning of my career in 1999, and then I spotted for him a year in Nationwide. I spotted for Trevor Bain when he ran for Michael, and now I'm back with Clinton MWR again, and hopefully this is forever this time.
We're talking to Brett Griffin, spotter for number 33, Clint Boyer.
15.
I'm sorry, 15. I'm still thinking.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, still thinking the old days.
Yeah, the 14 calls a big rate. The 15 is not.
That's right.
Brett, Clint's 40 points out of the lead after Talladega, out of the chase lead. He's still in it with a shot, I would say, at this point. As a spotter, are you brought into any kind of strategic discussion at this point with 6 races to go? Like, we got to do this or we can't do this, or is there any of that talk related to Clint's points position at this point?
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, mathematically, we're obviously still in it. Realistically, we need those guys to have some problems. When you look at tracks in the chase that are going to really give you an opportunity to make up a lot of points or lose a lot of points, those two tracks are Martinsville and Talladega. Well, we've been by one of them, and for whatever reason, it was our turn to lose a lot of points. Yeah. So, we're sitting here 40 back of the lead, but we've got, more importantly, 3 or 4 guys we'd have to leapfrog to get up there. So we need those guys to have some trouble either in the next few weeks or at that next wild card track, for us to really have an opportunity to close that gap back on the championship. As far as strategy goes, Clint, the crew chief, and myself, we usually sit down either at the beginning of the weekend or on Sunday morning, depending on what style of racetrack we're at, to figure out what the fuel windows are, what the tire strategy is, what the tire wear has been based on Saturday. Obviously, I'm working with Elliott Sadler on Saturdays and can give those guys insight as to, what I see and hear and learn on Saturdays. So we definitely are still strategizing. Are we in a position to probably take a little more chances than some of those guys in front of us? Yes, but at the same time, it's a big deal to finish top 5 in points. It's a big deal for the team, a big deal for the company, and a big deal for Clint. So while we're sitting there with our, kind of teeth chomping to go forward, at the same time, we're not going to do anything crazy and put ourselves in position to not be on stage in Vegas in a few weeks.
Well, you talked about jumping into the chase here, like you were traded into a pennant contender, but you're sitting in first place in the Nationwide Series as well with Elliott, so that's got to be something that obviously keeps your attention there. Talk to me about that. He's got a 9-point lead over Ricky Stenhouse. That looks like a 2-driver race for the most part. I think Austin Dillon probably is kind of on the fringe there. Talk to me about that Nationwide deal and Elliott as well.
Yeah, I really felt like last year we were in a great position to win the Nationwide title with Elliott and KHI. And kind of toward the end of the summer, Kevin had some change in his lifestyle. He wanted to become more of a family man and less of a businessman. So when he made the decision to sell KHI and merge it with Richard Childress Racing, I felt like that probably hurt our team a little bit, because it's really tough to go out here and do your job day in and day out in the sport when you're wondering what the future holds. It wouldn't be any different than any job, So we had some guys on our teams that were worried about their future, and on the flip side of that, I don't think Ricky and his guys were. I think they were, nose to the grindstone and really focused on their championship. Well, we're in a position now where we're with RCR. We got great cars, great motors. Elliott's obviously doing a great job behind the wheel, and we've just had a lot more stability company-wise. Do I look at this thing and say it could be a blowout? We should have a 50 or 60-point lead on Ricky? Absolutely, because I look at Indy, where I think we kind of got the short end of a stick on a call that was made on a restart. I look at Darlington, where we were leading the race and Logano took us out. I look at Bristol, where Ricky actually hit us and cost us about 10 points. But at the end of the day, we got the lead. I mean, we're in the driver's seat, so we just got to go out and race our race and try to get our wins and get our points, and it'll take care of itself. I mean, I know what kind of race car driver Elliott is and what caliber he is and what he brings to the racetrack, and he's got a lot of mile-and-a-half fast racetracks coming up, and that's where he really excels and does well. So, a few weeks ago, I jumped into a title hunt in both series. I'd already been in one all year in the Nationwide Series, and it's just been a great year to be Brett Griffin, man. A lot of good things going on around here.
Absolutely, and cutting down on your sleep quotient as well. We have to add that. So with a new baby in the house.
I got a little boy named Bodie. He just turned a month old, and he's probably downstairs crying right now, ready for Dave to come get him. But life's good, man. I can't complain.
That's absolutely
wonderful. Hey, I want to ask you a question, Brett. You're a guy who tells it like it is, and I don't really mean to put you on the spot, but maybe I'm going to do that a little bit. Danica Patrick's had a chance to run the whole year in the Nationwide Series. You've had a chance to watch her. She's 11th in points right now. She's ahead of some guys that have a lot of experience in cars like she's driving. Is she showing you enough to where you think she belongs here?
I tell you where I think she's done well. I think she's done well at plate tracks. I think she's done exceptionally well at road courses. So when I look at next year, which is what I think you maybe are asking me, how do I predict her to do? I think we're going to see about 7 races where she's going to finish on the lead lap and probably have a chance to do as best as she will have a chance to do all year. Unfortunately for her, I don't think she's had enough seat time to be ready to go race with these guys on mile-and-a-halves and Bristols and Darlingtons and some of the really difficult racetracks that we go to. But, hey, the best way to learn is by fire. So we'll throw her to the fire and see what happens. You know, I hope for our sport that she does well. I hope she learns really quickly. You know, it's a heavier car. It's got a lot more horsepower. One thing that may help her, guys, is it's a completely new car to all of us. So it's a new body. They're going to take out some of the skew that we're seeing in this car. When you guys see this car, the one we currently have coming out of the straightaway, it's like it's in yaw. The right rear sticks out further than the right front. Well, hopefully with this new car, they're going to get away from some of those downforce tricks, which may level the playing field a little bit, which may help her. You know, where I think she's got to really work hard is on car control and on entering the corner and being able to carry a lot of speed, because that's where these guys will flat out kick your ass if you're not ready for it, because these guys don't play. I mean, when I came into the sport, it's like guys save their equipment all day to race the last 2 fuel runs, and now every run's like they're in freaking qualifying trim. It's crazy.
All right. Do we have a scoop at all where Elliott's going to end up in 2013?
I don't know, but I got a house payment, so I hope he ends up somewhere.
And diapers. I tell you what, those things aren't cheap, man.
No.
Hey, thanks so much for spending time with us. I truly appreciate it, as always. Best of luck to you.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. And this time I actually am sitting in front of my computer. I didn't realize you guys were as good looking as you are. I'm going to have to do this from now on.
Yeah, we're sporting the Tiger treads here today. At least I am. So go Tigers.
I almost thought that one of you was pulling for the Tigers and one of you was pulling for Kyle Busch. But
No, I was just cold, man. It's cold up here.
When you're as old as Charlie is, you got to keep the blood flowing.
Yeah, there you go.
I got you guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks,
man.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
That is Brett Griffin.
Yeah.
See, there you go.